Hey guys, it's Jenkins, and today we are out in the parking lot of my apartment complex, and we're just doing a little bit of work on my girlfriend's car, just some Toyota, and I wanted to show you something that has a lot to do with what we were talking about last week, involving electromagnetism, the interaction between electric fields and magnetic fields to generate electrical power. So let's take a look. I'm going to pop the hood. Now, have you ever wondered why your phone might lose battery or be low on battery, or your remote control might lose batteries, but your car really doesn't ever lose battery, right? The battery never really depletes. There's no gauge right there that says plug me in, I'm low, like your phone, right? And that's because the battery, which is right here, your battery is consistently and constantly being recharged by something. Something is juicing it up, right? Just like your phone, when you plug it into the wall, something is juicing this battery up. Now, this battery is 12 volts. It pushes 600 to 800 cold cranking amps through the car to sort of like start it up. There's a starter motor that starts your big motor. And when it's cold outside, it takes a lot of current to do that, a lot of voltage to do that. So where does it get that, and how does it keep that in there, especially when you get your lights on, your fuel system's running, radio's on, air conditioner's blowing. So how does it get and keep all of that electrical energy? Because that should run out, right? Batteries don't need to be replaced that often. They do at some point, but it's not because they run out of electrical energy. It's because they're old and need to be replaced. So what recharges all the juice in this battery? And that has everything to do with what we were talking about last week, like my radio, where I turned the crank and somehow that produced energy or electrical power to power the radio using electromagnetism. So if you remember, if I have a magnet, right, and if I move that magnet next to a coil, I can induce current in that coil. I can make its electrons move. So that, again, is the basis for, like I said, how we create all the power. That's how this car creates its own power, too. It's got a mini generator inside of it. And you are going to have to know what this is very soon, because you're going to start driving. And I guarantee you, every single one of you at some point are going to have to deal with what's called a bad alternator. So the alternator is the generator that's recharging this battery. It is the electromagnetic device that's generating power. Now, if you want to think about how, when I taught you electromagnetism, generators take mechanical energy, motion, and turn it into electrical energy. And that's exactly what this device does. Now, I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's called, again, an alternator. And that's what it looks like down there, right? This is what it looks like. It's pretty distinctive. So you can see that it has, an electrical connector, of course, right? Because it's generating electricity. And there's a belt right here, a pulley. There's a pulley that when the motor moves, it turns, right? And then if you look real closely, you can see that there are little, do you have your light? Turn your light on. You can see that there are, I'm gonna try to get the phone in here. There are little copper coils in there, and I think you can see it right there. There's a bunch of wires in there, copper wire, copper coils, solenoids in there. And that's just like the electromagnet that we made. So that is the alternator. And remember, the generator takes mechanical energy, turning, and turns it into electricity. So that's exactly what is going on here. This belt right here is going to turn the magnet in here, called a stator, the big magnets, and it's going to be near copper coils, and that is going to induce current. And it's going to go through a bunch of different little processes, like it's going to be regulated and it's going to be turned from AC to DC. But eventually, the motion of this belt, which comes from the movement of the car, the movement of the engine, is going to go back to the battery. Why is this important? Well, this is important because when you start driving your car, you are probably going to experience a time where your battery dies, which, you know, you can't actually start the car, but that might be a bad battery, but you also might experience a time where you can start the car and it's very weak. And when you're driving, you drive and you put your pedal, your foot on the gas, and the lights become brighter, but then dim, and the radio gets real low. Why isn't it getting enough power? Well, it's not because the battery doesn't have enough power. It's because it's not being recharged by this generator called an alternator using that electromagnetic process. Then you probably have a bad alternator. And now you know. It's very important, right? Because you're going to have to experience that, you know, maybe once or even twice in your life. So don't be that person that goes and replaces their battery when it was really their alternator. Now you know there's an electromagnetic generator in here that powers your battery, right? So take that, use this advice to answer the do now called the alternator at the top of the agenda. And I'll see you on Zoom.